Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to In Your Ear Radio. I am your host, Latoya. Hey, how y'all doing? How your mama doing? Tell I want my playback. Anyways, happy Friday. Isn't this different? It's Friday, you guys. You know I'm Saturday. It's all about Saturday love for me because that's my favorite day of the week because that's the day that I'm off work. And I have the whole day to just kind of prep and just relax and just get into the cold groove. But this is summertime and we're doing something a little different today because we have a very special guest joining us to follow up on a very important story. And I just didn't want to miss the opportunity. There's a lot going on. Today, I'm celebrating with my family, family reunion for the weekend. Birthdays. I don't even know if I can get it all in, y'all. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that is the goal. Okay. So we're not going to keep you too long here. Just say hi to chat if y'all can hear me. Hey, what up? I see you, GB. Thank you for joining us. And we're just going to just recap, so we got a lot to talk about. And this is I'm back. I'm back. I'm back, baby. So 2024, we're going to do this. My passion is, just getting the word out, sharing information that I know, talking to people about things that I have learned. And before I do anything, let me share this on Facebook. Y'all know I'm still analog girl in the digital world. So let me get it in. Okay, so I shared it to my group. So for you guys watching me on Facebook, thank you so much. On YouTube, I appreciate you. I ain't figured out that IG live yet, so we're gonna work on that, okay? But so it's so hot in Vegas right now. Just shout out to the sun. It keeps it 100 out here, 115 to be exact. I don't know. It's hot as hell. I don't know what hell's like, but I bet you it's close to this because it's super hot. But yeah, it's super, super hot. Did y'all miss me though? I missed y'all too. I missed you so much. I followed you. I'm just playing. Well, I do follow some people, but listen, I unfollowed a lot of people, during this election season. People just working my nerves, and I'm trying to, stay zen and keep my peace. How y'all doing out there? Y'all have to unfollow and block some folks because of how they talking, you know what I'm saying, about black women and things? Listen, your choice is your choice, but when you start talking reckless and getting into it with talking about things that you don't know what you're talking about, it's a whole nother vibe for me. So yeah. So how many of y'all, let me know in the chats, YouTube, Facebook, if y'all had to unfollow some people just dealing with the climate. Maybe that has nothing to do with the presidential election. Maybe it was just, people just ignorant. They just doing things you rather not see. Because my timeline is looking pretty good right now. When I scroll through, I'm seeing a lot of babies. It makes me smile, makes me feel warm and fuzzy. I'm seeing a lot of music, positive things that make me smile. Because, if y'all like me, you wake up early, get on that phone, and you just start scrolling. And you scrolling and you looking at certain things, and you want to see things that's going to help you, start your day off on a positive note. And so when you seeing real ignorant stuff, it's not a good look. So that's all I'm saying, y'all. And I know the kids are going back to school, so I know that's a good look for the parents. So shout out to the parents, and to the kids. Because I know I did talk to my nieces, and they were pretty excited about going back. Yeah, a mixed bag. Some were like, really indifferent, and then others were excited. But I know when it was my turn to go back to school, it was exciting because you were gonna have on fresh clothes. That was it. So it was just like you're gonna wear your new outfit and see your friends you hadn't seen all summer. So that was a good look. But other than that, whatever. School is what it is, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. So I know you guys checked out the Olympics, right? Yeah. So I haven't, but I've heard the rumors. The girl that knocked out somebody who has an XX chromosome. They call her transgender. That's been the highlight of the conversation, and things of that nature. But it is what it is, right? We can't get caught up in the things that really, I don't know. I don't want to say it doesn't matter. There's like 100 plus people in the Olympics that are transgender, but this woman particularly is not, and she's from a country where it is prohibited to be gay. So I definitely don't think she could be transgender. And again, she has both of the X chromosomes, so she is a female. You have that XY would be male. So it's just a lot of propaganda and information. A lot of stuff going on where people are, I think, focusing on the wrong things. Like my boy from from Shoppers. Anybody watch Shoppers when he told the girls, they were going shopping or they were going out, and she was like, I don't have nothing to wear, and he said, you worried about the wrong thing. That's what's his name? Biggs from Shoppers. Marley. Manny Marley. He said, you worry about the wrong things. I think sometimes we just worried about the wrong things. So again, this show is a recap and a follow-up on Unsolved Murders. We had three mothers on the show in January of 2022, I believe. And we had these three grieving mothers on who were two for, exactly were still looking to solve cases involved in the death of their children. One, if I'm not mistaken, had the person had been held accountable. Since then, another mother is still fighting for justice, and so I just wanted to, keep up and follow up and see what was going on with the families, that are going through all of this. So it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with when we talk about, the death and losing those that we love. That's painful enough, but to have them killed and then not have justice is like, yeah, that's worse, right? It's just a lot. So, it's just a lot. So today, I'm hoping that I get some good news because I haven't had a chance to really follow up. I've been following articles on Miss Cortland, who's on with us today, the mother of Ky Alicia Thomas, who's she's a rider. She's serious about getting justice for a kid. Like she said before, y'all mess with the wrong one because she ain't stopping. It don't stop. It won't stop until she gets justice. So I'm very excited to hopefully hear some good news, and hopefully she has some closure as well. But we know that it's not that for all of us, and that's just the sad part. If you remember back in January, the three mothers that we had on, we had Miss Mendenhall on, who lost her son, Michael Mendenhall. That case is still have not been, resolved. I think they're having trouble with witnesses coming forward, and they're still asking for people to come forward to speak up and say something. If you've seen something, this is, we need the closure. We need closure. We need people who commit senseless crimes to be held accountable. Like there was no need for his life to be taken in the way that it was taken. And so that's very important, that people speak up. And I understand, the things that cause people not to say anything. We can't really trust the justice system. We can't really, we have to still live on these streets. So I get it. And I understand that. But, if anybody out there has ever lost a loved one, at the end of the day, that's all you really need is to have some form of closure, because you can't bring anybody back. But sometimes just knowing that people at least being held accountable is a big deal. So, my heart goes out to, Sherry Adams, get her name correct, who we lost Michael Mendenhall in 2020 to gun violence. Shout out to Danielle Brown. Her son Cody was also killed. And then today we welcome Ky's mom, Ky Alicia Thomas's mom, Miss Cortland Bridges. So, it's about unsolved murders. In the United States, there's nearly 200,000 unsolved cases since the 1960s, according to criminologists of homicide and non-negligent manslaughter, went unsolved from 1965 to 2021. And that's according to the FBI's Uniform Crime Report data study by the Murder Accountability Project. This database currently consists of unsolved homicides from 50 counties, 50 Florida counties, 46 U.S. states, and 3 international counties as well. So, including the international, is over 300,000. And 50 years ago, it was a 90% rate of solved murders. Today is 64.1%. And they're calling that a clearance rate, which means that no one's necessarily held accountable. They're not given time or they're not incarcerated, but they're identified. There's a suspect. Maybe the person dies, or maybe they just don't have enough information to bring them to a conviction, but they call it a clearance rate. 64.1% compared to a 90% rate 50 years ago, solving murders. And there was a quote by Vernon Gerbich. He's a retired self-described NYPD, Vernon, maybe male, I'm sorry, self-described NYPD murder cop, who wrote to the definitive manual of solving homicide. She said the standards for charging someone are higher now, too high. In his opinion, he thinks that prosecutors nowadays demand that police deliver open and shut cases that will lead to quick plea bargains. Well, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, Mr. Gerber, but I listen to Clay Kane's show every Wednesday on Sirius XM channel 126, and he does a show called Exonerated. And there's men on there, there's women on there, different races. Most of the ethnicities are black. A lot of them from Detroit and Chicago and Philadelphia, women. And these exonerated people have been accused of murder. So I think that this, quick plea bargains, y'all force people into these plea bargains. People who you getting the wrong people locked up, basically. People doing 50, 40 years for a crime they didn't commit. So y'all locking up the wrong people just to get a number. It's just like when you have an attorney and they tell you they have a success rate, conviction or success rate, but they've never lost a case. Well, technically, that doesn't, they're leaving out a few things. You know what I'm saying? Just because you haven't lost a case doesn't mean you won a case, because a lot of those cases may have been settled. So you can say you haven't lost a case if all of those cases have been settled, and maybe a few have been won. But, as far as having difficulty solving these crimes, it's like you go to school, you get an education, you understand what it takes to gather data. And a lot of these detectives and prosecutors, in my opinion, and based on the information, watching, listening to Exonerating and watching different shows and just dealing with what these innocent people go through. They lock up a lot of innocent people, but then there's a lot of people that still, roam the earth freely and continue to commit senseless crimes. And I just don't feel like, in some cases, a lot of people have the passion it takes to be a detective, to get the right people off the street to protect the community. So, it's really sad. And then, Miss Cortland, who's joining us shortly, she's from California. And in California, since 2019, from 1980 to 2019, there's been over 128,000 murders in California. 48,000 of those have gone unsolved since 2019. And so I don't know. Do y'all need to hire more people? I mean, I get it, but there's cameras everywhere. There's surveillance. People know stuff. What is the holdup? And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to Ms. Bridges about too, because I remember when we first discussed the death of Ky, there were witnesses. They were even right across the street from a cop station. So they, to me, it could have been open and closed, but then the bureaucracy comes into play, right? So it's just a trip. And then just considering that this was also associated with gang members who took her life. And in California, gang violence is prevalent as well. But in the United States, there are over 33,000 gangs. I mean, that's a lot. 33,000 gangs, that's different names. Jeez, that's a lot of gangs. And then there's just 4 types of gangs. There's a street gang, and I'm trying to figure out what that is. So there's also like a neighborhood and local gang. So I'm guessing the street gang is like a drug gang, and then you just have your neighborhood and local gangs, which they just represent the neighborhood. And then you have your prison gangs, and of course you have the outlaw or motorcycle gang. So it's a lot. It's a whole lot. So just to recap, and again, we're not going to stay here long today because I got a family reunion to go to. And a lot of other things are going on, but we will be coming back because y'all know I'm about to go in hard about voting, and I have a lot to say about a lot that's going on in the world. So your girl is back and she's going in and she's on one. But today I'm just going to keep it easy breezy, and we're going to have this conversation with Ms. Cortland Bridges, who was here in 2020 in January, along with the other mothers, when we were talking about our first series of Unsolved Murders, and get the details of what's happening with this case. So just to give you a little brief update, it was December 1st of 2020. A 28-year-old Ky Alicia Thomas, mother of 2, at the time of her death. I want to say, and you can correct me when you come on, her son was just 8 weeks old, and her daughter was 8 years old at the time. She was a wife. She just closed in on a home. She did what she enjoyed doing. She went out to Venice Beach and attempted to rent a scooter, and along with her husband and family to ride along the shoreline. She was having a dispute with the scooter rental owner located right across from a police substation, where the owner reportedly called some suspects to the scene. 3 to 5 men showed up, and they approached Ky and asked her, "Do you gang bang?" And I don't know if an argument ensued, but they ended up shooting her. They said that initially, according to an article I read, that the actual shooting was intended for her husband. He was the intended target. So heartbreaking and senseless murder it is. So I just want to get a follow up on this story. So let's go ahead and welcome Miss Cortland Bridges to the show, and let me give you your applause. Although it's not the happiest time, of course, grief is a lifelong thing. I still want to applaud you because I'm seeing what you're doing. I'm following you. I see you out there. You are not slowing down for nothing. And I just love it. I think this just, if you weren't a writer before, this sparked something in you that's got you moving, and you're doing a lot. And I just wanted to recap. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I just want to take it, step by step with you. And I just want to correct me on anything that I discussed so far, involving the murder of Ky. My heart still breaks reading the story. It's hard looking at her pictures and just reading and knowing that she's not here, knowing she had a baby, two babies, and one that probably doesn't even remember because he was so young. But it's just heartbreaking, senseless. It was unnecessary, uncalled for, and it leaves all of us brokenhearted. So, how are you feeling today? Let me say that first.
I'm good. That's a natural question. A lot of people don't like asking that to a mother of a murdered child, but for me, I can't speak for all mothers, but I can speak for myself. That's a natural question because I'm human.
Yeah,
So if someone didn't ask me that, for me, I would say I'm okay right now,
yeah,
but it's second to second. You can go from good to not good.
yeah,
You can go from smiles to tears. So right now I'm good aside from the sun being in my eyes and me trying to see. I came outside because it was a little brighter, but I'm good. I'm good. I have a lot to be grateful for. I'm good, and I'm doing what my daughter would want me to do, and that's fight for her no matter what, and fight for her, and not just her, for others that aren't here whose lives have been taken to senseless gun violence.
yeah,
And that's what we do. That's what a community does. That's what mothers do.
yeah,
We fight.
yeah.
So, yes,
That's what we do. We are mama bears, and we don't fight. And you can't play with our kids. You know, when it come to my child, don't let it come to my child.
that's right.
That's what
That's
it
that's
is.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's just a lot. And when we left off last time, you were talking about the situation where there were witnesses. It was right across from the substation. Um, there were people who saw things. I think there was a cell phone involved, but you couldn't get anybody held accountable, brought to the courts.
Correct. So, um, January 26, 2022, there were three arrests made. Um, Out of those three arrests, there was at the time of the shooting, one of the defendants, De'Ari Jones, at the time he was a juvenile. However, he's grown up now. He just had a birthday. He got a birthday coming up, or just had a birthday. So right now, I want to say he may be 20 or maybe going on 21. He took a plea deal. He was not charged in her murder. He took a plea deal. So he was given 80 hours of community service. He was told to obey his parent or parents. He was told to go to college. He was told to not break the rules. He was told not to hang around the gang members.
Hmm.
The second person, Jonathan Singh, he was given 5 years, 4 months. That was October or November of 2023. And he should be out maybe in sometime this year. He wasn't charged in her murder. He was given um, conspiracy to commit assault with a deadly weapon.
Okay.
The third defendant, Isaiah Caldwell Jr., he was and I have to be careful, he was the alleged shooter. Um, and he was convicted of conspiracy to commit assault with a deadly weapon. He was found not guilty of her murder. So nobody was charged in her murder. So nobody was charged for killing my daughter.
Yeah.
Um, they were two, like I said, two of them took deals. One took it to trial. He was found not guilty. And again, I have to be mindful. Even though my daughter seen what she seen, a
Mm-hmm.
jury found him not guilty. So he's, according to the jury and according to court records, he's not the shooter. So we have to be, again, I have to be careful because of legally, I could be held liable for um, saying he's the shooter. So again, let's be clear for people who are listening. He was found not guilty and
Yeah.
not charged with her murder. So no one was charged. Um, the trial was, it was a long trial, and it was a painful trial listening to the things that I heard.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout the trial and from the start of the trial, and even from the beginning, and I don't know if you remember, but from the beginning, it all stemmed from the person in the store making a phone call. He was a Jew, and the person in the store, Naveed, his name was Naveed Nadar or something. He was
Yeah.
16-year-old. He was 16 at the time as well. He worked for Star Bike Rentals. He made
Oh,
a phone call. He was supposed to be calling his boss. His boss didn't pick up. When the person who arrived to the store, his name was Ray. We found out later during the court process. Um, he was a manager, I guess, of one of the other stores, however that went. He arrived. He spoke to my two daughters and my grandson's father and my other daughter's boyfriend at the time.
yeah.
And they were all upset. There was a verbal altercation, and that's where the phone call came in that the young man at the store made to Jonathan Singh. And that's when Jonathan Singh came with the other, it was five of them, or five or six of them. But out of those five or six, only three were arrested. And that's how the shooting took place. Um, like I said, three were arrested. My daughter took a bullet to the chest. The bullet entered into her chest. It never came out of her body. It went into her lung and it stayed there. I was able to see this. I was able to see it. I did ask to see it. I was shown it. Um, she died on the scene. The officers who responded, Officer Harris did administer CPR, and people don't know this. He administered CPR. Ky did come alive, but then she died. So he did try to save her life. One of the officers, two of the officers that arrived on the scene, and she died after um, him trying to administer CPR. So she died. Um,
At
there
Venice
was-
Beach. Yeah.
yes, she died on the beach. During that time, there was video footage from the store. That video footage was erased by the the defendants and the store people. So they were in cahoots. That was something that we found out during the trial. There was a video that was that surfaced that a YouTuber had was able to capture, but it didn't capture the shooting or anything like that. It just captured the gunshots, which were five gunshots that were consistent with the video. And um,
So how were they in cahoots though? Like, Was the 16-year-old part of the gang?
So he wasn't a part of the gang. He just made the call to Jonathan Singh, and Jonathan Singh received the phone call, and they came. Him and um, the other people. They
Wow.
came to. They came. They were supposed to. And the reason why Jonathan Singh wasn't charged with, he wasn't charged, and he only got 5 years and 4 months, is because he didn't have a criminal record.
Hmm.
He was coming to defuse it. His intentions, according to the text messages that we seen back and forth between him and the 16-year-old Naveed Nadar, that's his. I'm messing up his name, but that's his name. The text messages back and forth. He was just Mr. Singh was supposed to just be coming to, I guess, diffuse it, but you're coming to a boardwalk to diffuse the situations, and all of you guys had guns.
Right.
But again, the the jury for the alleged shooter found him not guilty, and it was different things around as to why he was found not guilty. You have to have a certain amount of evidence or whatever. And my daughter was the only one in the case that had testified in the case.
Hmm.
Um, and it was for whatever reason, you know, he was found not guilty. And that's, again, it was God's will. That's all I can say. And some people may not understand it, and it is what it is. It's not going to bring Ky back. What I will say, um, it it was a hard pill for, and it still is. It's a hard pill for my family to swallow. That there was no, they don't feel that there was any justice, because no one was held accountable in her murder case. It was, it's a lot more to it as to why. They say if you see something, say something, which is true. Um, it was a gang case. We found that, and I mean, people can look up. They can go to West Side Current. It's a newspaper, and they can look at the articles. The reporters did an amazing. They did amazing work on the story. They can read the different articles that were done in regards to that.
Okay.
But no one was held accountable. Um, the police substation was behind where she was shot at. It was feet away. However, I don't think anybody was. I don't think they were. I don't think the police were at that substation. I don't know if it was open during that time, but also there was a gang, a so-called gang interventionist that was pulled in for the defense. The defense had a gang interventionist that came and testified on the defense's behalf.
How does that work? A gang intervention. What is a gang intervention?
Well, he was. I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to. I don't want to tarnish the reputation for gang interventionists, because there are, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest, there are some good ass gang interventionists, and I know a whole lot of them that are out there doing the work, that are stand up gang interventionists and preventionists. They do the work. They have been trained, and they really are out there working with the community and saving lives and trying to help some of these people in who have been incarcerated.
Yeah.
But I can't speak for everybody.
Right.
But you do have gang interventionists that do work still with the gangs, just like there are bad police, there are good police. There
Right.
are bad gang interventionists, there are good gang interventionists, there are bad black people, They're good black people, vice versa.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we don't live in a perfect society. So I'm not going to say that. What I will say is that um, the gang members have more loyalty to the streets than they do to anything else.
Mhm.
Um, and it's sad because our communities are the ones that are suffering.
Yeah.
A lot of them, they their families suffer because they can't they can't go against their gang,
Mm.
and so the communities lose out. Their families lose out, and the saying, "If you see something, say something." Um, Sometimes hands are tied, and your hands get tied because they pledge a allegiance to a color, to a neighborhood. And some of them don't even own anything in the neighborhood. Their families don't own anything in the neighborhood. And some people do the work. They do turn their lives around, and they do go and try to help clean up the mess that they made of the communities.
God
But
bless.
then there are some that don't. You know, it's unfortunate that the black and brown communities are the ones that are suffering. And I think that for this generation that is growing up, there's a lack of respect.
Mm.
You know, you have families that they don't know what their children do when they leave the house. I know a lot of people tell me don't look at the comments under some of the articles that have been written about my daughter.
Yeah.
I look under them articles and I see some of the stuff that was written, and I was going back and forth with people and trying to defend, oh, why would you let your daughter date somebody like this? Why, the mother should have did X, Y, and Z. These are horrible people. Well, first off, I'm going to start by saying that what our children do when they leave our homes, we can pray that, they make good decisions. But
Yeah.
a lot of these gang members, their mothers and fathers, they don't know what their children are doing. And they come from maybe a two-parent home. Some come from a one-parent home, and their parents are working, trying to make a living, and they don't know what their children are doing. But
Yeah.
then on the other hand, you do have some where their mothers and fathers are heavily in the gangs and
Yeah.
they condone that. But
Yeah.
then you have the ones where their families don't condone that, and you have praying mothers and that are praying that their children are making good decisions.
Mhm.
And I don't want to discount the fact that, these are hardworking families.
Yeah.
But what about the families that are condoning what their children are out here doing? And you make it bad for the families that don't know.
Yeah.
We have to get back to the village. It takes a village.
Mhm.
You have a mother, a single mother that's trying to work to provide for her children. And here it is, her son is out here doing whatever it is. And then when he comes home, he's dressed in the clothes that he left in. And he's, out here changing into different clothes. You have the daughter who leaves to go to school and she's left the house in certain attire, but then she may be out in different clothes. You know, you may have the two parent homes and these kids are wanting a different lifestyle than what their parents are giving them. And it's not fair.
That's where, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I just want to kind of take it back to what you said, like the respect is lost. Shout out to a lot. We got a lot of respectable, intelligent youth coming up, and that I'm feeling optimistic about. But I do agree that the respect got lost along the way, and I think it dates back to the '80s. We have that term, the '80s babies. But I think when the crack hit the streets and these youngsters was selling to adults that could be their parents, and they lost all respect, because to me crack was like a zombie effect, right? So these people weren't who they were when they got into this drug. So these youngsters was pockets fat and had no respect for these people, and were talking to them any kind of way, and didn't have any guidance. So like you said, the community was lost, because then they had access to weapons, and then that was their god. So they can pretty much get you to say and do or shut up, because they could just shoot you if that's how they felt about it. And I think it continued, because then you have, not to knock teen pregnancy, because I was a youngster when I had my baby, but you had young mothers who, were just young, not really prepared to be mothers. Maybe they didn't have that example in the household. Maybe they had a different way of thinking about raising a kid, and they didn't instill those type of values, respect, love, and just, having love and respect for your neighbors, and especially your elders. And so it's gradually, it just gets worse and worse, I think, with each generation, and on that level, to where there's no respect for people who's done more time than you have as far as life is concerned, and no more. You know what I'm saying? We can learn so much more from our elders. So I do agree that that's one thing that's lost, and it comes from those parents. Just like you said, some of them are hardcore gang members. I bear witness to mothers who influence their kids, call them, like, I'm just gonna say it, pussies and the B word, because they weren't so-called hard and, selling drugs. And so they kind of influenced them to do that. And I think it's unfortunate, but I also think that's a mental health issue, because what parent would encourage their child to walk into the lion's den? Like, why would you encourage your child to walk into a situation that's either hell or jail, right? So, you know, it's just so much tied into that, and it's unfortunate. And then you talk about how these kids are coming out, their parents don't know what's going on. They go out, when I was a kid, I probably did that. I couldn't wear a skirt too short, but I could when I got out of the eyesight of my mama or my daddy. But it's a little deeper when these kids that are coming from, well-off homes, everybody's, you never know what it is, because even on the outside, you have a two-parent home or one-parent home, hardworking parents, you got everything you need. You still don't know what that person is going through. You don't know if there's sexual abuse, emotional abuse. You don't know. You know what I mean? And so they're clinging on to something outside of the home. Obviously, it's something. You can't deny it. Something is causing them to want to be something they shouldn't even want to be.
That's
And
true.
it's sad. What can we do about that? Because
That's true.
I'm reading this article. I remember you sent me this article. It was headline dated July 26th. This is Isaiah Caldwell, who was not convicted of murder, but instead they said that he is a Venice gang member. He was sentenced to a maximum term that was for 18 years for conspiracies to commit murder and a
No,
misdemeanor.
no
Not
conspiracy to come. Let's, because we don't want to be liable. It's
assault.
conspiracy to
Firearm.
commit assault
Yeah.
with a firearm, and it was 18 years. But let me explain to you that charge did it came from because the judge, what it was he had priors, and he had been in trouble prior to that, and
Mhm.
the judge seen that he had been in trouble prior to that,
Mhm.
and she was able to even look at things that were from his juvenile record. And I'm going to elaborate on that. We have a DA that's in office, and with some of his directives when he got in office, and he wanted to strike some of the gang enhancements and not charge juveniles as adults, and not be able to look at juvenile records, and use priors and things like that. The thing about that is that if you look, there's a lot of people that are getting out of jail. Some of them are doing really well and aren't getting in trouble again, but there are those that are. Um, they have an extensive background of crime and they're recommitting these crimes. In my case, a perfect example. The judge gave him 18 years, but with those 18 years, he was in county jail. You get credit for county time. So he got 3 years credit. So 3 years credit on 18 years is 15 years. 15 years with 85% leaves you anywhere to with 10 years, 10 to 12 years, maybe 12.5. And that's if you get good credit.
Yeah.
However, if this DA that we have, Gascon, if those gang allegations would have been able to stay, those gang allegations would have carried a lot more weight.
What did the jury consist of? What was the racial makeup? Do you remember?
The ratio was white. However, when they say a jury of your own peers, that jury found him not guilty.
Yeah.
Even though, and I'm going to be perfectly transparent, when I seen the jury, I knew automatically. See, I have my instinct, and I'm not even going to say instinct, it's the Holy Spirit. It's that discernment.
Yeah.
My discernment told me right off the bat, he wasn't going to be found guilty. Number two, when I got the phone call from my grandson's grandmother, and told me my daughter was shot, before she even called me back, I knew my daughter was gone. As a mother, you know. So I knew automatically he was going to be found not guilty. I never said that to my family, but I knew because I felt it. Number two, I knew when I received that phone call that my daughter wasn't going to make it. The jury, I just think that it was a gang case. They knew, and they didn't want to be a part of that process. They just didn't want to be a part of that process. When they seen the people that were coming in there,
Hmm.
they were like, nah, I don't want them following. And this is just, I'm playing devil's advocate because if the tables were turned, I would have been like, nah, I don't want to be a part of this. And I'm just being honest. But the thing is that there were people at the beach who they seen things. There was video footage that was deleted. There were other people that could have spoke up, but they didn't. But again, it was God's will, the direction that this case took. And at the end of the day, I don't care how many years they could have given anybody, even if they would have all been found guilty, it wouldn't have brought my daughter back.
Right.
My thing for me, and again, for me, what works for me, for Cortland Bridges, the mother of Ky Alicia Thomas, it doesn't work for all mothers.
Right.
I have to forgive.
Hmm.
Forgiveness is setting me free. Forgiveness is giving me peace.
Exactly.
But for another mother, that doesn't work. My journey is not their journey. My experience is not their experience. Our paths may be similar, but
Yeah.
our experiences are different. So I can't tell another mother, you need to forgive. You need to um, be in the space that I'm in
Yeah.
because that's not her journey. That's not her experience. So I don't want to take away from another mother.
Hmm.
Her experience is her experience. Where she's at in this journey is her journey. Just like for me, if you tell me that my daughter was lost, I'm going to bite your head off. My daughter wasn't lost. My daughter was taken. But for people that don't know how to respond to families whose children have been taken to senseless gun violence, to senseless um, drunk drivers, senseless domestic violence to at the hands of someone else, you can't tell somebody what to say when they don't know. So I can't get upset with somebody. But once I've educated you and once we educate more people on what to say and how to respond, then they will know. So I can't get upset at somebody that doesn't know. But if I tell you, don't come telling me my child was lost,
Yeah.
because my child wasn't. But if you don't know, I can't get upset with you.
Yeah. You're
So
just
I don't get upset with people that don't know. But what I will say is that if you see something, yes, say something. If you know something, say something. Don't hold a hood or a neighborhood. Don't give them more value than you give a human life. These are lives that have been taken, and we have to stand up. And if we don't stand for something, we're going to stand for nothing. People have to, again, get back. We have to realize it's trauma. People don't just wake up and say, oh, I'm going to go kill somebody.
right.
These kids are seeing things in homes. Not only that, adults are growing up with trauma. Trauma is something that is not being dealt with. And that's where the mental illness comes in at. Because if you don't deal with that trauma, you bleed on people that didn't cause that injury. If you put a band-aid on it, then that band-aid comes off. Then what happens?
Yeah.
It gets infected.
Shout out to Arvis. I'm gonna just cut in just because he or she. I'm sorry
That's
for
Miss Harvest.
Arvis.
She's my granddaughter's um,
Okay.
grief. She's a mother whose son was taken, but she's also a grief and trauma loss. She does grief and loss therapy. And
Oh,
we've
okay.
been in this for years. And mental health is something very important. And if it wasn't for me being introduced to her through Mr. Khalid Shaw, then I would have never met her. My granddaughter would have never been able to heal like she has. So she's been a very driving force. And thanks to Khalid Shaw, who introduced me to her. So those two people, he introduced me to her, and that's how my journey began, because of him,
Okay.
Mr. Shaw, and introduced me to her. So those people introduced me to all these people in this craziness that
Mm,
has happened.
yeah. So, since you mentioned that, is Arvis available to the public? If people reach out, I definitely a lot of people need someone to talk to. They need, especially when it comes to grief and just mental health. If you are offering your services, post that in the chat as well. But Arvis is saying, it's important to talk about grief and trauma because, after all of this, it doesn't end. Long experience of missing, missing the people. I'm getting a little. There's a life experience. Is there someone that your internet on Portland? Okay. Oh, we went away. Okay, good. So there's, a lot of people who, after all of this happens, we still have to live on, and it's a lot of trauma, like you said. And even for people like these young men and women in these gangs, they need therapy too. They need therapy too. Because again, I know we were trying to squeeze it all in and do it shortly, but we can't. When we're having an important topic like this, we just got to let it flow. So I can ride with you as long as you want to ride. But I just wanted to get a few things in the time that we have. Talking about Isaiah Caldwell again. He lashed out at the judge. He told her to F herself, put his foot up on the table, called her a B word, told her she could shut up while she was reading out his sentencing. And then his father got up and he pleaded and said, listen, I did 25 years in prison, and I'm sorry about this. And they let him stay in the courtroom. And that just touched me, because it's like, you come from that. You come from that experience. And at some point, who knows, they probably celebrated gang violence. And then maybe this man now is a changed man because he stood up as a man. I don't know. But then the other thing was, just reading this article, it was a lot of turmoil in the courtroom. And that's what people don't understand too. It is extremely traumatizing to be in a courtroom and watch someone that either they're the victim or they're the perpetrator, be in the room and have to listen through these conversations. It is very hard. So yeah, I just wanted to just reiterate that, just listening, reading this article about Isaiah, it sounds like he needs some therapy, if anything. And I respect the fact that you said that you yourself have forgiven. Forgiving isn't about what you did was okay, because we know it wasn't okay, period. But you are a strong woman. So you know that in order for you to continue on with your path, you have to let go of what you want it to be and put your faith in God. Because even if this person doesn't see a jail cell ever in life, you don't know what his trauma is, what his sleep is like, what ghosts are chasing him, what he's dealing with on the street. Just because he's walking free doesn't mean he's free, you know? So we can be upset because we see, justice isn't really served, but God is, he administers justice, right? And so, at the end of the day, we do want to keep, serial killers and people who are just reckless and menace to society off the streets. But at the same time, sometimes the way things happen, it to me, it just seems like it puts us on a path. And I think for you, it put you on a path. And I know you've been into a lot of activism, and I want to get into that. But before then, because I'm looking, you have a book that you released on Mother's Day. You've done all kind of things. You have you did the, I remember last time talking to you, you had the Blessed and Peacemaker Acknowledgement Certificate. I saw that. I saw a picture with you and Nick Cannon. It was a certificate for Blessed, the Peacemaker Acknowledgement Certificate. What was that about with Nick Cannon?
It was the Nation of Islam. They gave out awards for different people, and actually Miss Harvest received an award as well, and so did Mr. Shaw. So it was, yeah, different people in various communities they gave awards to, and it was just blessed. Blessed are the peacemakers, and I didn't even know I was getting it until I got called a couple of nights before. But it was, it was an honor to get it, to receive it, and it just, for the work that, we're doing, trying to promote peace, and keep peace in spite of the different things that we're dealing with. And it's so easy to not want to promote peace, especially in these circumstances, because a lot of people decide to take justice in their own hands, and it's not the answer.
Yeah.
It's not the answer. The book is going to, in regards to the book didn't come out on Mother's Day because my trial. So the trial is what affected the book. The book was actually, I was going to do a launch tomorrow I'm a part of a film, which I was honored to be featured in.
Okay.
Terry Carney Senior. I'm messing up his whole name because I'm nervous, because it's such a blessing to be a part of the film. It's called Put the Guns Down, and it's a whole lot of different people in that film, and it's such an honor to be a part of it. It's tomorrow. We're at a film festival, the Black August Film Festival, but that film has been in so many different film festivals. He's won so many different awards. When I tell you it's a movement, Terry is a blessing. Terry's a blessing.
So it's Put the Guns Down, a world. It's a documentary that they're at the Pasadena African American Black August Film Festival. It's in Flint Ridge Center, Pasadena, and it is tomorrow. I think it's 7 p.m., right? That's Saturday. So they have, and it's narrated by Ice-T, and then you said the producers and the directors again, the names.
Terry Carney Senior.
Yeah.
And he's, like I said, Terry's amazing. He's an amazing man. His story is amazing, and God truly used him to get this movement out. And when I tell you, it's a must see. And just the different stories, the different people that are in it in regards to gun violence and how it has really plagued our communities, and it's not just a Black or a brown thing. It's literally plaguing not just LA, it's all over.
Yeah.
It's all over. He tells how it started. He tells about the gangs and how, guns they weren't meant to be out here killing people like this.
Yes.
And so it's amazing. But my book, going back to the book, the book, I was supposed to be doing my book launching tomorrow. I'll be doing my pre-sales there along with the t-shirts to my book. The book got delayed because of the trial again, and the printing, it got to the print late. So
Okay.
I just said, God, let your timing be your timing. So I'll continue doing the pre-sales, but it will be at my event September 21st.
Mhm.
We just finished proofreading it, and it did get to the printer, but I won't have it tomorrow. So I'll be finishing up with my pre-sales, and I'll just be glad when it comes out. But I'm grateful for everyone who has ordered it, and I'm just ready to continue doing the work, continue with this documentary. It's a must see. We're gonna be in Vegas also. He's gonna be getting this documentary. We'll be in Vegas. I don't know the dates. He's working on it, but we'll be in Vegas. So stay tuned.
If you keep me posted, I want to
Yes,
see it.
stay tuned in
That's what I
Vegas.
was going to ask you. Where can people watch it? Is it going to be streamed?
It's not streamed yet. So if anybody is on here, reach out to Netflix, reach out to Hulu, reach out to,
Um,
see everybody, let them know like this documentary is a must see. You
and it
guys
touches
have
on mental
to.
health, right?
Exactly. Exactly. But definitely, it's a must see. And like I said, we will be coming to Vegas. I will keep you posted. And yeah, you guys got to see it. All that's all I'm gonna say. You have to see it, and bring your tissue. Bring your tissue, because it's the people that are in it, the families that are in it, telling their stories. Just gun violence is it's a world epidemic, and we got to put the guns down. We
Mm,
have to save lives, and we have to make a difference. But we got to get to it's the trauma and the mental illness, and we have to come together as a community. We have to be able to forgive, but we need more services. If you see something, say something. Our communities, and not just the families whose loved ones have been taken, it impacts the community.
yeah.
It impacts the community. What happened to the person next door, where if you went to work, you were safe knowing that they were going to look after your child. Now you got to worry about if that person is going to be trying to touch on your child.
Hmm.
So we gotta be mindful. Times are different, but we have to be mindful, and we have to get more programs. We need more people committed to you know, helping one another. And where's that village at? And those relationships, as far whether you believe in Jesus Christ, whether you believe in Allah, whoever, at the end of the day, we trying to get to heaven. We trying to get to heaven, or wherever your heaven is. But you gotta believe it has to be, we gotta come together. We have to have more love, and we have to save our children. We have to save our communities. We
One
have
of the
to.
ideas I had was, just putting our money into maybe billboards, saying positive messages, seeing our kids on billboards, stop killing each other, or just some type of positive influence. So when they're driving around the community, they see reminders of who they are, reminders of who we are, and that it's humanity. And I think it sounds like a small thing, but we ride around, we see advertising for different things, and it influences us. And we see restaurant advertisement, we go, oh, we want to stop here. So if you see something on a billboard that says, "Don't kill your brother," we are the same. Keep, protect your community. Just billboards everywhere. People can put their money into invest in just that's just a one way to help the community. Sometimes I know there are people. I know people in different organizations who reach out, and I'm grateful for them who do their thing. They have their little part in helping to save at least one person, but we do need more. And so I know it's important. The book Joy Always Gets the Last Laugh. It's coming soon, and it's dedicated to your daughter, Ky Alicia Thomas. She would have been, what is it, 31 now?
She has a birthday in February. She would be 30, I think 32 this year, and it's sad because I've lost count, but she's forever 28 to me. But
Yeah.
she, every year we don't even count. Now my parents, they choose not to celebrate or not even celebrate her death anniversary, but we commemorate her birthday, February 5th. So
Yeah.
every year now we celebrate her birthday, not the day that her life was taken. But we are embarking on 4 years. But her daughter will be 12 this year. Her
Yeah.
son will be 4, and they are doing amazing.
Yeah.
They're, my grandson is a spitting image of his mother. I
Wow.
mean, he is just like his mother. He's doing amazing. His auntie and grandmother are, um, they're doing an amazing job raising him. My granddaughter, my family my family is doing amazing with helping me. My daughter Cameron, through this whole trial, Cameron she graduated in May with a bachelor's degree in criminology. Even
Okay.
being a witness in a murder case, she still said, "Nope, I'm my sister's voice," and she graduated. And she wants to be a prosecutor. She wanted to be a defense attorney, but she was like, "No, nope,
Yes.
gotta."
I was just having that conversation. You want somebody like me and like your daughter in that position because we're going to be objective. We're going to work hard to make sure the right people are being locked away. We're not just going to be beating people up in these interrogation rooms and making them confess and sign stuff and locking the wrong person up while crime still happens on the street. So you want somebody that looks like me that locks up people because there is crime out here. There are some people that don't deserve to be on the street. I'm saying we have to lock our doors and use protection because there's some weirdos out here. So yeah, we need people that look like us
That's right.
have a passion for justice, out here. So that's beautiful. So I remember your granddaughter was doing a prayer line. Is she still doing that?
She's still doing her prayer line, Monday through Friday, 6:30
Oh,
to 7. We're still doing it, and yeah, she's doing amazing. Just all I can say is it's nothing but the grace of God and the
yeah,
village that I have that is behind me with her. We have some good days, like that song says. I have good days, I have bad days. I've had some hills to climb.
yeah,
But in one thing I will say, Latoya, is that what I noticed since this trial has ended, I thought I wasn't human because I was in survival mode. I didn't
yeah,
cry through the trial, but
yeah,
I've noticed I cry a lot more. I feel a lot more now. And I do cry a lot more. And you know, it's it's been challenging, but I just thank God for my village. I thank God for all the prayers. I thank God for the love. I go through my angry state, my anger, but that's I'm human, and that's part of grief,
yes,
and it hurts, but I will say I thank God that He's allowed me to just go through this process, and I'm still standing. I'm still
yeah,
standing. And the forgiveness part is where, I thank him for, so I'm just grateful for every person, every family. What I do want to say, and I want to stress, you know, um, just continue to stand in solidarity with the families whose cases are still ongoing. Um, if you see something, say something. You know, we gotta say something, and we gotta have more love, and we have to just make sure we get out here and we vote. We vote. We
thank
vote.
you.
We have to vote, and we gotta stand together, and we have to love one another. Like, come on, people. These gangs, like, no, they're tearing they're tearing our communities apart. I'm
Yeah,
tired of seeing every time you turn around, somebody's loved one is being killed, you know, and these families are suffering. These kids have no mothers, no fathers.
hmm,
These mothers like myself, these fathers, it's horrible, and it has to stop, and it's not going to stop until we all come together and get sick and tired of getting sick and tired. Hey, if we got to go out here and we gotta do it, you guys. We have to do it, but we need more people to come together and say enough is enough.
Yes. Yeah. It's so much, that bag is so full. And, I'm glad you mentioned voting. I know another thing that you were promoting, just looking at your social media, was voting for DA Hatami.
Jonathan Attorney, he was running for DA. He didn't win. He didn't. The thing is, and I'm not gonna tell you, he didn't win because he didn't have enough money. See, you
Yeah.
got all these people with all this money, but trust and believe, when he does run again, I need everybody behind him because he's the right man. But right now it's between Gascon and Nathan Hoffman or Hockman. Whatever you do, do not vote for Gascon.
Y'all hear that?
Gascon is not the man. He is not the man, okay? But
Yeah.
I'm still Team Hatami. That's what I will say. He's not on the ballot, but I'm Team Hatami for life.
And I just want to reiterate, because I'm dedicating me coming back, because I can definitely empathize. I can relate and sympathize with a lot that you're saying, especially dealing with grief. I thank God I don't have that anger aspect. I hope it doesn't come up, because I know what anger looks like for me, and it's not very
Me
cute.
too.
It's like,
Nope.
who is she? Wait a minute, who is that? So I don't want to have to deal with the anger. And then the tears. I work on suppressing tears, because I don't like crying. It just ain't cute. After I cry, my eyes I just be looking a hot mess. So, and it's frustrating. And some people say crying cleanses. I I don't get that. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm happy for those who get cleansed after they cry, but all it does is frustrate me, because
Yep.
there's nothing I can do. But I'm not mad at anybody who gets any type of relief from that.
Yep.
But it is an everyday cycle, missing the people you love, just thinking shoulda, coulda, would. Because even while you were telling the story and you said she was alive, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, they can still save her, even though I know she's gone. It's like in my mind, it's like, well, okay, she was alive for a second, y'all save her. So,
And
I know what you're going through mentally. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely can relate. I deal with my grief. I've had a lot of hard hits. I've had a lot of hard hits myself, but I'm dedicated. I came back. I fell back for a minute just because I needed to protect my mental health. And as much as I love talking to the people and being a social advocate and sharing information, I'm very serious about it. And it's just overwhelming looking at the news and like reading the comments and just doing a lot. And I just needed to focus on me and dedicate a lot of that attention to myself. But coming back, what's sparking the flame for me is voting. Just this climate we're in now, this handmaid's tale type of thing they trying to send us to. So I'm just so happy to hear you say, vote. And I just like to encourage people, we got to vote for president. We got to vote our interests. So do the research and you'll know what's best for you. And then you got to vote local. You got to get the right DAs in there. When they get the right DAs in there, shout out to Philadelphia, they try to get them out though. You know what I mean? When you get the right people in there, they fight tooth and nail to get these people out. They make the good people the villains when they start investigating police officers, investigating the detectives. Now these good DAs, these good prosecutors, these good judges, these good councilmen, these good whatever, people in these local positions, they do whatever they can to get them out. And like you said, it's money too. So these big people with fat pockets, they have their interests, and they got to fill these prisons, y'all. They got to fill these prisons. They got investments to make. So they don't give a damn who it is, as long as it's somebody. So they're putting in those positions to make sure that they locking people up. And these judges, a lot of them are biased. And so they'll take down a black brother or a black sister first. So please vote. Please do the research. Don't let people tell you your vote don't count, because your vote counts. It's a struggle. We know out here they do everything, like they say, it's a game, but they got the rules missing. We all know how it goes, but they do their best to deter us and to discourage us. We got a person trying to become president again right now, who I'll just quote Clay Kane again from SiriusXM Urban View, who said, number 45 is not planning to win, he's plotting to win. You've heard him say, just vote this one last time, Christians, and you won't have to vote again. He said he wants to be dictator first day. You know what I'm saying? But we focusing on the wrong things. Shout out to Shotters and Biggs. We focused on the wrong things. We focused on what Kamala is doing behind closed doors. And we're not really doing this research to find out what she has done seriously to help benefit us. Nobody's perfect. Your spouse ain't perfect. Your kids ain't perfect. Nobody does everything exactly how you want it to be done. And that's just what it is. But we need to vote our interests and protect women, protect children, protect our freedom. This is real. So I appreciate you so much for just saying
That's
that.
right.
And
That's right.
yeah,
You know what? What I did want to tell you real quick, and I did forget.
yes,
I do want to give a really big shout out to my detectives, and my DA on my case, Mr. Tim Richardson.
okay,
He was amazing, amazing. My DA was Mr. Richardson. He went in there, and if Mr. Richardson worked his ass off.
about that life,
That
Mr. Richardson.
Mr. Richardson worked his ass off. He was, when I tell you, he worked his ass off. And my Detective Jonathan Vanderlee, Detective Warner Carias, and our gang detective Melvin Campos, my detectives, when I tell you, man, and even the detective, the officer I didn't know, like I said, who tried to save Ky's life,
Yeah,
and then she stopped.
God
She
bless.
Kai was tired.
Yeah, yeah,
So again, we don't, a lot of people take away from these officers and these detectives. But when I tell you, my legal team worked their ass off, they worked their ass off. And when I tell you they were so hurt because of how it went, they were so hurt. Like
yeah,
for real, for real.
yeah.
And I thank every person who came out to my court days. My man, my big brother Jaime was at every court date. Jaime was losing money coming to court for me.
That's
Like,
right.
when I tell you people was coming to court, my cousins, like, man, when I tell you, I had some stand up people behind me. Like, my heart, like I'm telling you, my victims advocate, Miss
Yeah.
Jordan. When I tell you the people that was, oh my God, Khalid, Miss Arvis, like man, Miss Kathy. Oh my God. It's when I tell you, I feel like I'm Oscar, but I'm telling you, like people, like my family, my daughter Cameron. When I tell you that girl got up on that stand and didn't give a damn about them
I
being
heard
gang
that.
members, like she was her sister's voice, like real talk. Like my daughter's case would have went a whole lot better, but it didn't because of different circumstances. But like I said, it is what it is. I just, all I know is I don't get a do over. And
Yeah.
a lot of these people always want to say, I get it. Some people do deserve second chances. But us mothers and
He
fathers
was
and these
remorseful. None
kids,
of them are remorseful. That's what bothers me.
wait,
Go
let me tell you something. His mother, let me tell you something through the whole trial. That lady, I told her, I forgive. I'm not angry. That woman, when I tell you, I've never seen a mother that was so hateful. That lady was so hateful and so angry and everything else. And a lot of people said they see why.
Yeah.
But again, I say I forgive. I don't wish nothing bad on them. I pray that they turn their lives around, each and every person that was involved in my daughter's case. It ain't going to bring Kai back.
Right.
But what I say is we got to pray for these people out here committing these crimes. We
Yeah.
got to pray for them. We got to pray for them. It ain't going to bring Kai back.
Yeah.
And it ain't gonna bring our loved ones back. So let's just continue to pray for one another, continue to show love. And we got to do better as a people, as a black, as a brown. And murder, it don't have no color
Yeah.
because when you die, you bleed the same blood. A mother, a father, a family's pain is the same kind of pain. You
Yeah.
hurt.
And let me just get this in for all the people that you celebrate who had your back. Right. That's very important. We need our tribe. We need our community, and it means a lot. So I'm just
Yeah,
thankful.
yes, and I forgot one more person, LaWanda Hawkins with Justice for Murdered Children as well. But it's a whole lot of people. Just I don't want to forget nobody, but I love everybody. You guys know who you are. I thank you guys. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And I thank you so much, Latoya, for just staying in the loop. Even the reporters on my case, not on my case, but the reporters who was there diligently, Jamie and Sandra, they was there, even Terry would include me in the documentary. Like, it was so many people, just, the love, but I couldn't have done it, without you guys. And you even, doing this story again, and continue to send the love and prayers to Michael's family and the other family that was on here, and to all the families that have been impacted. We are praying and we standing strong together.
Yes, we are. And I appreciate it. And I'll close out with this. I was in Michigan, in Detroit last weekend, visiting my family, my in-laws, and I was at my father-in-law's church. And the pastor, I'm always looking for the word. I'm not a very religious person, but I'm always looking for words of wisdom and guidance. And so the takeaway from that was, I'm paraphrasing. He says that he described how a baby does. He said we always looking we get upset. We start a process, and then when it doesn't happen overnight, and I'll just associate with me with weight loss. I get on the scale, I work out today, and tomorrow if I don't lose 5 pounds, I quit. So he says, as you look at a baby, and a baby first has to learn how to crawl, and then they have to learn how to walk. And during that process, they're falling and everything, but the whole process is they're strengthening themselves for what comes next. And so even though this is not how we want to get through life, this is strengthening us, because look at you. Look at what role you're in now. You're helping other people. You know what I mean? You're bringing other people along with you. Like, this is not the way you would have liked it to be. And they say you can't really question God, but I definitely do, because he gave me the mind to question him. But I respect the fact that he strengthens us. And, we're not all able to be so strong. So God bless you and everybody that supports you guys. This has been, okay. I mean, we didn't get the justice that we were looking for, but I'm with you. You said you're going to leave it in God's hands. And my understanding is, even though people don't get what we want them to get, you don't know what they got. You see what I'm saying? So your sound went out, but I just want to tell you, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you. We can meet in person when you come to Vegas. Make sure you
Yes.
stay in touch. And so we can meet again. And I want to thank everybody on Facebook and YouTube, your tribe, they in here. Thank you for being in the chat and sharing your thoughts. And we'll do this again next Saturday. It's In Your Ear Radio with LaToya. Thank you so much, Ms. Cortland, for joining us.
I love you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you, LaToya.
I
Thank
love
you.
you. I'm looking forward to meeting you and hugging you and squeezing you tight.
Yes. And I will see you in Vegas.
Yes. Okay. Y'all have a good night. I gotta
Enjoy your family reunion.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye.